Hey there, it's Thomas Cox with the third video in a series on accountability. And in this one, we're going to talk about negotiation, perhaps the single most important phase in having really high accountability and therefore high trust in any organization. Negotiate is your last chance to fix problems that weren't fixed during the initiation phase and still set up both parties for success. By the way, if you're the doer in the asker-doer pairing, the asker asks and the doer does, if you're the doer, do not exit negotiation until you have everything you need to succeed, as best you know what you'll need. In other words, you've got all the leverage before you say yes. And a lot of people rush into saying yes quickly for all the wrong reasons, and then it sets up almost inevitable failure. Remember, I said before, the failures in accountability that we notice during performance and acceptance, most of them had their seeds sown during initiation and negotiation. So make sure you've got a robust negotiation phase. You want to ask things like, what do you need and why do you need it and who do you need it for, and is there anything I can do differently that would be better to satisfy your need? You can ask things, as the doer, you can ask things like, do you want interim reports from me? Would you like an early draft to make sure I haven't misunderstood or misheard you? How do you want the final product delivered? And so forth. And have a look at some old examples of failure, struggle, and harvest from those past failures. So gosh, if only I'd asked this question. Harvest those questions, stick them in a template or a checklist, and ask them up front during negotiate. It can be something as simple as, when you were a kid and your parents wanted you to do something, before you say yes, is the time to say, hey, I'd love to, clean my room, but you also wanted me to set the table and feed the dog. And my sense is I'm not going to be able to do all of that before dinner. Is there an order you want me to proceed in? So before I say yes, I ask that. I don't say yes and then underperform and then say, but you didn't give me enough time. That's right. The proactive way, it's very courageous, is to set both parties up for mutual satisfaction. So there's a little bit more guidance on this, and there's a template below this video, but that's the core of it, is during initiate, slow down, look at your checklist from past failures, look at a template, and make sure that as the doer, you only say yes after you've surfaced all your concerns and you're confident that you and the asker are visualizing the exact same thing. And that makes for a really good initiation, or a good negotiation. End with a very clear mutual agreement, accountable agreement, and make sure that accountable agreement is preferably in writing. In an email, it's fine, and it lays out all the conditions of satisfaction, all the things that'll work for both of you. Don't be afraid to check your bandwidth. Do I have too much going on? I'm going to have to say no to somebody else. Don't be afraid to ask your boss to prioritize, or even say, here's how I think we should prioritize. Double check me. Take some work off my plate. Can I deliver something with lower quality? Because once you achieve the accountable agreement and you're no longer in negotiate, you are on the hook. You have set an expectation. And any changes after that will tend to harm your reputation and make the asker trust you less. And the more rigorous you are during negotiate, the more they trust you. One last thing. And I should have said this first, one of the very first things you want to say in negotiate is, I want to make you happy. So that way, when you're doing your pushback on details, timeline, deadline, interim deliverables, it doesn't sound like this is some sort of soft no where you're trying to deny them. Hey, I would love to make you happy. I'm looking forward to coming up with an agreement that makes you happy and that I know I can deliver so that you're ultimately very satisfied. In order to have that agreement, I need to ask you some questions. And then at the end, you recap. So always start negotiation with, if it's true, that I'm looking forward to making you very happy. Let's make sure that we've got an agreement that we can both live with. That number one meets your needs, and number two, I can actually deliver. And that's the kind of framing up front that makes negotiation much smoother. So that's negotiate. Look for the template and the checklist and the cheat sheet. Get your copy of the accountability poster, the accountability loop poster if you haven't yet, and tune in for the next video. I'm Tom Cox.